We're live. All right, what is going on, Generation Crypto? Thank you guys for tuning into another Power Hour. We got to wait till we got some more viewers. So what's going on with YouTube? Are we live? Yes, we are live. Guys, you can drop a comment. Let me know you're here. Click like so I know who all's in. What's going on, Keith? I believe we are awesome. How's audio? Audio's good today. Awesome. All right, guys. So I wanted to highlight a few things on the BTC chart. Some things we want to weigh in more than others. Starting off, I'm gonna pull back from this 1 week chart, go in like a 1 day. And this kind of came to light last night or the day before, night before, where I was noticing these head turns on the 6th of every month, right? So we've had a bullish month followed by a bearish month, bullish, bearish. It's been really like 30-day cycles. And the head turn's been on the 6th, right? So we're not gonna give it too much significance, like what's going on. Why is it on the 6th of January that we see a head turn? February 6th, March 6th, April 6th, May 6th, right? And we're coming up on June. June 6th is still a little ways away, but in a sense, we're seeing these month-long uptrends, these month-long downtrends, and I want to dive in more deep into why we're seeing these, and I still don't have an explanation. So if you guys have an idea of what's going on with these sixes, the 6th of every month, why we're getting that change in direction, just go ahead and drop me a comment, whether it's on Facebook or YouTube. If you're in our Discord, I want to open up a discussion so we figure out what's going on the 6th of every month that we see this change in direction. Now going back to the weekly chart, right? Looking at the BTC chart on a 1 day, we see this price action from 71.90 all the way down to that 5,800, and that's on a day-to-day basis. But if we back up, if we kind of zoom out and stick to that 1 week chart, which kind of goes back to the monthly intervals, where we're seeing 4 weeks of losses, 4 weeks of gains, 4 weeks of losses, 4 weeks of gains. That's why I'm kind of going to that 1 week chart, and this is on a log, right? So this is logarithmic scaling. I do see another wedge, and if you guys are like, man, screw your wedges, we tried longing this last wedge and it turned into bearish divergence right away, and after a few $100 gains, well, guess what, these are proven formations, right? And really that weekly chart negates all these lows that we see back here, because the close of that week was still above 79, and so was the open. So essentially negating this extreme price action with the really high volatility, where we dipped down to 58 and all the way back up on the 6th of February. So moving forward, what's my view on BTC? Well, if we draw a resistance line on those last few peaks, right, on these last several highs, it looks like we're still trading above it, right, on a weekly standpoint. If you guys have been following through the bear market, we did see on a linear chart, we did see a lot of friction with last resistance line. I'm going to and pull that up on a GDAX chart. DAX. Get rid of the log scale. And see, this was it, right? We did see a lot of friction with the linear resistance line, and that was above where we are right now. But we did generate profitable trades, and we did see a market rally happen as far as the entire market cap goes, right? We grew a little close. Ether grew 126%, BTC some 50%, a lot of alts made over 100. So we did see some of that, and that is always promising. Now, if you go back to the log chart and where we are today, I think we're going to enter another era of testing the logarithmic resistance. That's on a daily. But if we look at it on a weekly, we're almost there. We did test it, and we're still trading above. On a really short-term time frame, on the 30-minute, 2-hour, 4-hour, we're seeing what could be another reversal wedge, right, for a long, and we can short it on divergence again like we did back here. And I would quickly hop on the short, not even consider anything else if we saw it diverge once again. But we still have to break above the resistance on this wedge. On back to the 4-week, or back to 1 week, I'll go back to that once we're done with this chart. I do see possibility for upwards volatility, which is what I was expecting last week, and that didn't quite play out. So we do see this next setup over here, and I want to see friction. I want to see a test. I want to see a break above, possibly to long and then short again, or close a short and then long and then hedge the short on divergence once again like we've been doing. So let's go back to that 1 week chart, and I wanted to highlight something. If we look at volume, right? If you guys in the chat were like, hey, like volume's been really low, what's going on with that? During previous corrections, we see volume taper off. The blue bar, the blue line, essentially the volume moving average, that's an area, right? What the blue down here, I believe. So I've got it set to a 10-week moving average, or 10-period moving average. One thing we noticed that on a weekly, as volume starts breaking back above that 10-week, that's when we start seeing more rallies, especially after the bear market in 2016, where we got down to that 582 level. Volume was essentially tapering off, much lower than the average volume on this chart on a 10-week moving average. And as soon as volume started laddering back up and breaking above, we saw the next really long bullish rally. So in a sense, am I saying we're going to trade sideways, or we're going to keep making lows until the 6th of June? Why is that 618? I'm not saying we are, but there is that possibility of going sideways until 6-6, unless we see further developments. You know, this is us on a daily. We're seeing a head turn on the 6, 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 turn on the 6, turn on the 6 again. Or, you know, we're still waiting for this to develop. Now, you know, what is the absolute lowest that I foresee happening by then would possibly be that 64, 63, unless something happens, right? Unless this wedge plays out and we go a little higher. But at some point, I foresee us retesting this line, this resistance line, where on a weekly it looks like a wedge, right? And I really want to see that volume come in on that 1 week chart, right around here. I want to see this volume get up above that moving average, the volume average. unless we're going to get a tapering period. I was talking about, you know, more sideways consolidation. I think there's probably like 2 more candles until June 6th. No, 1 more candle. And I'm not saying there's a guaranteed head turn there, but we've been seeing a change of directions essentially every 4 weeks, every month. I wanted to start off with this just to guys give you more of a long-term perspective of what I think is going on a week-to-week basis. Because based on, you know, price action, we saw chart formations last week. A lot didn't make sense, but once we put it on a weekly, we might be able to get more direction as far as a long-term, bigger picture of what's really happening. And what led me to do this is the head turn every 4 weeks. Looking at directional movement index on the ADX on a DMI on a 1 week, it's really low. But what's worrisome is on the 3-day, it's starting to move back up, right? So we know that trend might be gaining strength at some point. We're at a 17. 17 isn't dangerous. The 20s, 24 is when it gets really volatile. From a 1-day standpoint, we're past that 24, 25. We're at a 27. We have seen the ADX turn at 27 a few times on a 1-day. So these are all things you need to keep in mind while we're in this market is what can happen, right? We've seen several head turns in this range. So I'm not really worried about it on a 1-day standpoint. I do believe there's going to be quite a bit of support along this resistance of the long weekly wedge. Possibly for a head turn on the 6th. Hopefully we turn before the 6th. You guys have any questions, comments? Anybody disagree with what I'm seeing? Anybody agree? I'm gonna add an RSI on a 1-day, and then we'll work our way back up to that 1 week chart. RSI on the 1-day, we still don't have the full-on divergence that we want to see, right? We're still not in that extreme. I'd like for another dip to happen just to show us what's going to happen on the RSI. Again, let's scoot this over and get rid of the DMI. Right, on RSI, I want to see what happens next. I want to see on the next low what's going to happen with RSI in a sense of, are we going to be divergent, or are we not? The 12-hour RSI shows a hidden bullish divergence. It does. But then we still haven't retested this resistance line. What I'd really like to do is find this resistance line on various exchanges and essentially try to come up with a median, because you've got different highs and lows and opens and closes on GDAX versus Bitfinex versus Bitstamp. So we still don't have that one solid index of price action. So I kind of want to get a weighted average for this and figure out and see where the bounce is going to be. So currently I'm neutral on BTC. I'm just going to play the formations as they show themselves, right? I'm not going to come up with a target, but you know, this year has been, it's been one month of gains, 1 month of losses, 1 month of gain, 1 month of losses. So we better get ready for these market conditions. Are they going to continue? What's going to happen with the 6s? Once again, if you have a relevant article on 6s and trading, please share it, whether you're on YouTube, Facebook, Discord. I'd like some more input on that. So Verital, I see you say there's a bullish div on 4-hour XBT. There's a hidden bullish div on the 12-hour, and I'll highlight that right now. Right, we're seeing the same RSI low on a higher price low. Let's go to yellow on here too. Here are the purples. So there is a hidden bullish divergence. There is a short-term wedge that can be played, and I announced that in our BitMEX long short earlier today, and I was asked, hey, can you give us an entry price? Well, it's not how you play a wedge. There is no entry price on a wedge. We want to see price action flirt over here and break above and test and retest. I see that. That's a good observation. Then what I just highlighted is we've been trading upwards for 30 days, downwards for 30 days. So we want to catch the bigger term, higher trend. I'm gonna go to RSI on a 1 week, and it looks like in this downtrend, RSI has found support at 44. Let's go to a stochastic, which is going to be a leading indicator. And it looks like we're headed back down into oversold, right? But, I want to see stochastic turn on a 1 week, which is a really long-term chart to play. But essentially, that's about what I have to say on Bitcoin. If you guys have more questions, go ahead and pepper me. If you think I'm wrong, pepper me too. I'm gonna highlight market cap, right? We're back down. We're still not at the low from the year. I do wish we could export this where we can draw some support resistance lines and see what's really happening with the market cap. Back to the 1 week chart, right? I've seen a lot of 1 day charts that essentially say, oh, there's a bearish pennant, or that have these funky resistance or support lines where somebody's tracing the bottom of the wicks and saying, oh, it's a bear pennant and such, right? But then none of these resistances really line up. And that's why I decided to revert back to a 1 week, because we do see support and resistance lining up, and it's more of a big picture on a 30-day cycle. If you want to ask about XRP, let's wait it out till I get into alts, and then we can cover alts. You guys, if you want to submit some altcoin requests here in a bit, click the join Discord link. Please click the join Discord link, and once I start taking altcoin requests, you can submit a request there, and I will TA it to the best of my capabilities. Alright, so back to market cap. Kind of zoom in here for a bit. Oh. So we're still above that yearly low, which is good to see. That's probably because BTC is still above the yearly low. And back to what I was talking about over here in February. Back to the February low, we don't see the market making a lower low than we saw just. Actually, no, this is February low, right? We don't see the entire market cap making that low of 5,800 like BTC did, and we see a lower low over here. So it kind of agrees with what I was talking about with the BTC price and what all was essentially happening on a 1 week to a 1 day time frame as far as the time frames go. Same over here, where we had a much lower wick on BTC's price in February, and we had a similar low here, I guess a higher low, but we're seeing a higher low in February in market cap and a lower low in March when BTC's price was the other way around. And that's why I switched to a 1 week. As for market dominance, this is where it's really going to get interesting if you guys are all heavy. I know I'm holding quite a bit of alts right now. And we're starting to see that inverse correlation again, where BTC is gaining dominance, alts are losing dominance. Even Ether's coming down, and I wasn't foreseeing that, right? I was really bullish on Ether a few days ago until yesterday, last night, we dipped under 500. And that was unexpected. So with BTC dominance going up, alts going sideways, are we above? We're still above the 24%, which was resistance. Now it's looking like it's turning into support. On this last run, alts were capped off at 24%. Now we're at 24.77. So I do foresee alts that upheld their values to kind of stay that way. Alright gang, hit me with an altcoin. Let's take some altcoin requests. I will take 3 requests at a time, and then I'll ask for more. Alright, I want me to go over Ripple. Tricks. Throw some moving averages on a 1-week chart and see where that takes us. So XRP on a 1 week isn't looking too bad as far as moving averages go. If we can continue to essentially make some highs, we're not seeing that right now. Let me add an RSI. We don't see a bull div, right? We just don't on a 1 week, and it's also a really long time frame for alts as they're very volatile. I still don't see a bull div on a 12-hour. We do see one here. See an exaggerated bullish div. Trend is sideways, right? We're essentially in a trading range, where if somebody was range trading, XRP would be a buy because we're at the bottom of the range, for a sell at the top of the range. A range is established by 3 touches, right? So I would call this a touch. We'll call that a touch. We do see a double top. That was it divergent? Is a better question. We didn't even go into the extreme, so I wouldn't call it divergent. Not on a 4-hour. Not on a 2-hour. Nowhere. There is a bullish div on the 2-hour, right? And on the RSI as well. On the stochastic and on regular RSI. So I think XRP is very likely to bounce over here. Moving averages on a 1 day. Somewhat getting crushed. So it's in chop. We're in a lot of chop as, you know, we're going through these 30-day cycles. Now alts aren't exactly following that 30-day cycle like BTC is. But that's also something we want to keep in mind while trading and while profit taking. So if we go back to the BTC chart, right, and we're in a rally coming up to the 6th, and we're in altcoin gains, it's probably time to lock in some of those gains to move forward. That is not a bearish divergence. A bearish divergence can only occur on the tops, not on the bottoms. So that's invalid. Veritile. And your RSI isn't in the extremes either. RDD. Here we go, the workshop template. So what are we seeing on a 4-hour chart, right? Do we see any bullish div? Well, we don't. These are similar lows. The wick's much lower, so we're going to expect the RSI to be much lower. Leads me to conclude we're most likely in a trading range, unless this is a head and shoulders, and this could be a head and shoulders. That could be, right? I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying it's not. Head. If I move this around, I can make this look like a head and shoulders. Alright, we do have a neckline established. I try to break above. Now we're retesting this neckline, right? If price action does close below, put this on silent. Sorry, guys. If this neckline, if the price closes below the neckline, I would run the other way. This point, is it in a range? It is, but it's also a head and shoulders, so we could see this thing come down crashing. The target for this head and shoulders is going to be somewhere close perpendicular, right? Be a nice drop. If you're bullish on RDD, if you like the project, and you're looking to pick it up, it might make a lower low if this head and shoulders hands out, right? Somewhere the 48 range, so losing almost 50% in value, or yeah, losing 50% in value from where it is right now. I don't see any divergence on a 4-hour. I don't see, see if there's anything that can save us from here. We don't see the RSI enter extremes on the 12. So once we have more friction with this neckline, a close below is an exit or a short if you can short, for a pick me up back at 50% of prices, so you can double up your RDD values with the same BTC value upon doing so. Alright guys, we got a smaller audience than usual. Somebody give me a altcoin request. We've only covered 2. Facebook, anybody have a request for me? Lumens. Once again, I want you guys to keep in mind, in the back of your mind, that we've been in these ups and downs where we are seeing the market act in a sell-off every 30 days or into a rally. We have a rally every 30 days or a sell-off. So Lumen, we had highlighted that we see a potential head and shoulders, right? Price tried flirting with that line, but this line is getting lower and lower as time goes on, right? As this line gets further below the neckline, unless this is the retest of the neckline, but then it's a scoliosis head and shoulders. Failed to break above where it could be essentially labeled as bullish. DMI on a 12-hour is turning up at a 16, so this downtrend might continue. Just a few days ago, I was excited about this rally. But then this is going to lead us back to the market cap shrinking every 30 days or rallying every 30 days. So I do see us going sideways for 30 days, up until June 6th, just because that's what the market has been doing. You guys remember I had posted the divergence on BTC in my notes around the 6th, or actually on the 6th. And had we exited the market, opened the short, and done nothing since. It would have been very profitable. We would have protected a lot of our gains and essentially gained some BTC on that short. EOS is currently in bullish territory according to our wave trend. This looks like a bull flag. Let me go into a 4-hour, see if we have any bearish divergences on this flag. We do not. EOS is still looking good. I don't see a bear div on these tops. I see a higher high. It's not even in the extreme yet. And a lower high, higher high, lower high. There was somewhat of a double bottom, but no divergence here either because RSI and price were moving together. You see lower lows on both of them. Let's check the trend on a 1-day. You're sideways, there is no trend, right? Somewhat in an uptrend, and ADX is flat. So as ADX starts turning up, we can expect EOS to make more gains. Let me put my standard moving averages on here, and we're looking good, guys. EOS is looking good. Is there a rising wedge in play? You gotta check these two tops on a 1-day, make sure they're not divergent for a longer term hold. We could get a third bounce. We do have somewhat of a rising wedge in play, right? But it's far from the next touch. We do have 1, 2, 3, 4 touches, but there's more bullish indicators than bearish. Inside the RSI, we don't have a bearish divergence on these highs, so it kind of negates this wedge. It does. So EOS in my perspective is bullish at the moment. Momentum isn't quite on its side, but it's looking pretty good. Alright guys, give me some more requests, altcoin requests. Gonna be a power 30 minutes if I don't get a little more participation, but we've been doing these a lot more often than previously. Bcash and Litecoin. I think the Bcash rally is over. I think so. We had made some massive gains on the way up for 1 to 2 legs. It was a third bounce. This thing's getting crushed, right? Because we traded this one on margin, I was very much encouraging you guys to profit take on the way up, so we don't get greedy and end up where we started, right? You don't want to enter a trade if you don't cash out those green candles. The market goes back to its previous lows. You don't win anything. You just got a little excitement in your life. So we've seen this wedge play out, and this is one reason that, why we play these wedges, because they are a reversal formation time and time again. If we go back to that BTC 4-week chart, or the weekly chart, we're at this other wedge. So we played this thing for a massive gain on leverage, and we did fairly well. You guys that played it with me, we crushed it. Made 99%. It's over 1,000 on 10x. If you're doing 25x, you made 2,500% on Bcash. So you held it and played the whole way. So I would not touch Bcash right now. Not in BTC values. Let's look for a Fibonacci levels, which is really important. Holding it at 61.8 on in BTC values. I'll check us out on USD values. It kind of blows my mind how Bcash is overvalued, or is valued higher than Ether is. I think Bcash is just a scam coin personally. I have a negative bias towards it, so, but it doesn't mean we don't play it when we see a nice technical setup. BTC values, we're at 61.8. We could see a more volatile bounce happen or a retest if we break under. I think it's done. We do know that CNBC was praising it, so I'm not sure what they were praising. Let me look at Bcash USD, and yeah, it's crushed. Even if we go on a shorter term fib, right? The higher the swing low I pick, the more doomed Bcash is. We do know this thing has a cult supporters, right? Bitmain. They created it. Jihan Wu. They pump it and they dump it very often. It's their money creation process through market activities. I don't see a massive bear div. I do see a bear div on these two tops. So up until we see the next oversold bullish div, I'd stay clear of Bcash unless you're shorting. Litecoin. Alright, awesome. We got some requests coming in on Facebook. Guys, as soon as I'm done with these requests, I'll start covering Neo, Lumen, Wax, EMC squared. Litecoin BTC. Range. Solid range. I'd like to see what happens with RSI. It's just, it hasn't been moving. It hasn't had much volume at all recently compared to the volume we previously had, right? So no volume, no price change. It's really not doing much. Is there a head and shoulders? Not quite. My neckline's way too low. Can that be a head and shoulders? It's a micro one. Really not. Moving averages down, market's in a sell-off. When was last high, right? Let me go ahead and highlight this. Last high on BTC and market cap was on the 6th. What about Litecoin? 5.6. Previous low. Doesn't correlate. But then one thing I highlighted when I started this video is that on the 6th we're seeing these market sell-offs or rallies. So it's moving along with the market. Currently sideways. I can't, neither nor bullish or bearish, but if you were to compare it to Bcash, much more bullish, even though it doesn't have the volume. It's working on bouncing off that 51.8 of that 50% fib. It's actually holding up pretty well. So that lets us know that there's not much selling happening at these price levels, which is good. Last time we saw a head and shoulders formation on Litecoin, it played out. So we don't see one of those just yet. Alright, so it's gonna be distance from the head neckline to the head and back down. So long-term wise, it's still upholding values. If anybody wanted to catch a falling knife, picking it up after that 50% would be good, but this would be the third time it's testing these lows or on a bullish RSI divergence. I think that's enough on Litecoin. Alright guys, moving into Neo and ZRX. Neo touched the bands and is currently breaking below the bands. Anybody that entered should be stopped out by now. I'm going to currently stay away from Neo until we reach a capitulation point, and that would be the best time to pick it back up. Neo likes to do these false rallies, and I've highlighted this time and time again from a long-term perspective, unless we hear anything from China. Neo, I call Neo the fake out king. Why? Because you get all these failures to break. You make these highs back into a sell-off, right? I mean, I can't even, there's so many of these wicks. I have to draw arrows from beneath. So we see so many fake outs on Neo, even a couple of moving average fake outs, where moving averages break over and fail to make a new high. Here's no friction, so we're gonna get rid of this one. Here we see friction, right? Sell off, break above, bull trap, breaks back down. When does Neo like to rally? After a capitulation, right? So I want to wait for this to happen on Neo before going long again, picking up another bag, or for a bullish RSI divergence. What did we see on the last two Neo highs? Bearish div. We got similar highs and lower highs on RSI on a long-term standpoint. So we always want to make sure a new high is higher in RSI. Alright, moving away from Neo, ZRX. Alright guys, so what happened on ZRX to get this this big candle? This was news. What happens whenever there's news? Somebody sells the news, right? It was news rally, you guys got sold the news. ZRX had started showing divergence. We made over 200%. Who's asking about ZRX? D Lopez. Last time I signaled ZRX was way down here. Let me go on Binance chart. We get more price action. I signaled ZRX in the 67 range. We started selling off way up here. I would wait a little and see what happens on RSI. This was a bullish div. So there's bullish div and there's news. There's a rally. Right, but the candle, the big candle, didn't come out until after the bullish div, and that's why I'm more of a technical trader than a fundamental trader, because we do see the market show us direction on the chart before the news ever comes out. I would wait and see on this new low. If it's divergent, once again, if this RSI low is as low as this one, if there's a hidden bullish div or any sort of bullish div, and the rally might continue. Poly. So Poly has been a heavy gainer, right? Throughout this market sell-off from the 6th, it had done nothing but gone up. So May 4, 5, May 6, 5, 6. Anybody who had Poly in their portfolio and hung on to it through that bearish div on BTC on the 6th. Right, we saw a little bit of a sell-off for another rally from the trough to the high. Almost made 100%. We made 78%, 75%, 77%, somewhere in the 70% range. So in a sense, Poly has been resistant to a lot of the sell-offs, right? It's been in its own rally. It has done well. Anybody that didn't profit take the top, decided to hold through it, Well, you guys are back in the profits again. We're still in the profits from the first buy. Moving averages look really promising on a 4-hour. What about volume? Volume is looking solid. We're seeing 600 BTC volume on this coin, and when I signaled it, we were on the sub 100 BTC, right? This was a new listing. I hadn't quite made headlines. We had some strong FA on it before ever hitting Bittrex, and I foresee Poly hitting Binance and other exchanges. So long term, I'm bullish on Poly. Hector, I believe I covered lumens. If you want to back up once this video is over, little rewind. Mona's been a long-term trend that I've held and traded for quite some time. It's up, but it's not as up as I'd like it to be. It's been doing these fluctuations. It's definitely in a range. RSI does show a hidden bull div, an exaggerated bullish div. It's one of my longer term holdings. This is one of the strongest coins in Japan. It started as a joke, but now it's somewhat of a currency. Still holding some Mona for a long term swing. We're in a range, so there's really not much I can TA. As for divs go, we do see a bullish div on the daily. Almost a bullish div. I want to see RSI in that extreme, right where my face is. Covered Neo, Lumen, Wax. Wax. I covered the FA on this one last power hour. They have a lot of catalysts, right? This thing, they've already got a platform going. They're just essentially migrating it into crypto. It is the biggest exchange for gaming skins. Long-term wise, this thing, it turned its head. We got a head turn before the 6th. We had a promising rally. Didn't quite pan out. RSI starting to get into these oversolds. I'm hanging on to my wax bag, which isn't very big long term. Just I don't want to trade it. We got in on the lower lows, right in this range. Actually 24. Whoa, it's almost back where we bought in. I'm essentially waiting on a few catalysts. Let's go to CoinMarketCal. Oh, I get a facelift over here. It looks a lot better than 2 days ago. Let's go to Wax, search. Alright, so you got a lot of catalysts. They're launching their own token, which is not an ERC20. They're replacing the Wax token, so they're doing somewhat of an airdrop. And they've got delegated proof of stake, guild nodes, right? You're gonna have Wax nodes on the 30th. What do we know about nodes? Nodes tend to lock up a lot of the coin supply. This might be like a washout before the node play goes in. Zcoin on a node did excellent. Sys on nodes did excellent. A lot of these tokens, they gain valuation on it whenever they go to nodes, master nodes, or proof of stake, because it locks up a lot of the coin supply for passive income. We see a lot of people trying to buy these nodes so they can essentially stake Wax for Wax tokens. AMC Squared had made some moves for a Binance listing. It's back at that low pre-Binance news. This is one of the most volatile tokens I have ever traded. If you guys were with us last year, you got in right around the 1400 range for a massive percent gain. This was one of our most awesome trades last year. I mean, over 1,300%, and that's when BTC went from 7K to 14K. So we made a lot of money on EMC squared. Now I don't have any emotional attachment to this token, but if it does hit Binance, you know, they submitted their application. If it does hit Binance, this thing's gonna go on a rager. Fundamentally, what is EMC squared? It's a non-profit type of token that works with charities and non-profit organizations. We do have a contact on the EMC squared team. I could catch up with him one more time. Initially, he said that they applied for Binance, but he was a little hesitant of, you know, what the end result might be. We did see this massive rally right here. I think it was a couple of buys. So somebody knows something, right? They wouldn't just buy up this wick on a normal day, after a sell-off on a normal day because of no reason, just a bag hold. Alright guys, I'll take 3 more alt requests. Going once, going twice. Right, no more alt requests. Go back to that BTC 1 week chart. Just wanted to kind of close out with the main finding. Going in a 1 week. Right, on that 1 week, we do see thing just changed. We do see a wedge setting up, right? I almost want to see more friction here. You know, 66.25. I would start loading the boat on margin, just because it could be a good play with a stop, you know, right below it. Last wedge didn't quite pan out, and also we do want to see volume pick back up. And I was kind of playing around with the volume. I was playing around with the volume indicator, or the volume moving average. What is going on? Gonna clear some of these out, start with a fresh chart. I was kind of playing around with the volume moving average, just to essentially get a feeling of where we're gonna be whenever that rally starts, because the longer the moving average is, the longer the delay is going to be before we get a signal. So I got it all the way down to a 5 length MA on a weekly, so it's a 5 week. And that should give us an earlier entry on volume breaking above what it had been, right? Because that line's going to taper off a lot faster. So as we see here, the line tapers off quite a bit faster, as we see here as well. Sell off. We can even go into a 2 week, 3 week. We want to see where the volume's doing based on those weeklies, right? So it's really dipping low right now. So I want to see volume come back into the market. I want to see this retest. I want to see what happens on the 6th, which is a ways from now. It's what it feels like. And, you know, crypto every week is almost a new year. Every month is like a new year, because we go up for a month, down for a month. That's how it's been this year. Anyways, as for, you know, support, you know, I'd really get worried if we break this 6,400. Which I don't think we're very likely to, right? I'm still pretty bullish on BTC in a sense of what I'm seeing on the chart, and yeah, you know, this upcoming retest. If we do fail this upcoming retest, we're gonna be in trouble. Anyways, guys, thanks for tuning into Power Hour. If you're not on our Discord, hop on our Discord so you can get priority on the altcoin requests next time. We got a link to Discord in our video description. Anyways, guys, thank you for tuning in. Esther, I covered EOS. Anyways, guys, yep, stay tuned. I'll be on the platform today. If you liked the video and if I covered your coin, click like, click share. Yep. See you guys next time.